And joining us now is former U.S. Ambassador to Russia, Michael McFaul. He's an MSNBC international affairs analyst. And Ambassador McFaul, I was very pleased to read your optimistic assessment today about this war. You maintain that Vladimir Putin has already lost this war.
Yeah, and I use the word war precisely, not battle, Lawrence. And I think we need to go back to where we were talking to you 2 months ago, right? Remember, on the eve of this war, Putin said he was going to take all of Ukraine because they're not a real people. They're just Russians with accents. He was going to swallow it up whole. He failed with that objective. Number two, he said he was going to denazify the country. He was going to kill Zelensky or chase him out of the country, put in his own puppet regime. He failed with that objective. Three, destroy entirely the Ukrainian military. He failed with that objective. Four, he lost the Battle of Kiev and lost the battle for other major cities so far. He failed with that objective. So now he's down to the fifth final objective, which is defense of Donbass. If you listen to their language, I listen to Russian news every day, including Mr. Putin. They've changed their objectives. Now it's just the special military operation in defense of Donbass. So maybe they'll win the Battle of Donbass. I'm not prepared to know that. I think it'll be a very heated battle because of what you just were talking about in terms of our new military assistance. But the war, I think, overwhelmingly, the Ukrainians have already won.
And if this becomes a battle for Donbass, doesn't that basically return us to where we were before the Putin invasion, because there was already this conflict there?
Exactly. That's exactly right. Before February 24th, Crimea was already annexed by Russia. Donbass was effectively controlled by Russia, with one exception, Lawrence, the bridge, the corridor between Crimea and Donbass. That's where Mariupol is. That's where Kherson is. And the rest of the Donbass regions, right, the two regions, Donetsk and Lugansk, they didn't control them completely. And now that seems what Putin's new objective is: connect them to Crimea and take both of those oblasts, or the equivalent of states in American language. That's where the fighting is happening right now.
I don't think the first time we talked about this invasion, you could have thought at the time, Vladimir Putin, 2 months from now, I'll be saying Vladimir Putin lost. What is the biggest surprise to you over the course of this war so far?
Well, you know, when we were talking about the war ahead of time, and I talked to the administration frequently, I know all the experts on the Russian military in our country, we added up the dollars that the Russians spent versus the dollars the Ukrainians spent. We counted the tanks versus Russian tanks and Ukrainian tanks. What we couldn't count, Lawrence, is will to fight. And I think that part is the unknown that we didn't know. That is the big thing that was not known. Incredible will to fight. That's why they won the Battle of Kiev. And number two, what you're talking about today. $20 billion in new military assistance, $33 billion all told. That was not something we knew was going to happen when Putin invaded, and that will make a difference in the Battle of Donbass. There's no doubt about it. We're sending in the old Soviet equipment like you were just talking about, but we are also training Ukrainians on new long-range artillery. American, NATO kinds of long-range artillery. That is something I would not have predicted we were going to do 2 months ago.